What's up, y'all? I'm Deidra, and today on ShadeTree Reads, we're going to be starting a series. It's going to be called Review and Do. Today, in the pilot episode, it is going to be me doing my hair. I got a couple of new products that I want to kind of demo while I talk about the book that I enjoyed, and that book is going to be The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. Let me just tell you, I really enjoyed this book, but before we get into that, I need to give you some sort of parameters about how I rate my books and where the idea for this sort of series came about. I need to give credit where credit is due. Specifically today for this video, I am taking my inspiration from over at Mina Reads. She does this thing, or she used to. I haven't seen one in a while, and I've been looking for it, and I got hyped for it. I saw her do a tweet that got me hyped, but it was for another video that I haven't watched yet. She does this series called Twist and Talk, and she sometimes reviews videos, sometimes it's just discussion. Today, that's why I'm going to be twisting my hair and demoing hair products, because I thought that was a really cool way to kind of do my hair and talk about a book, kind of kill two birds with one stone. Second one is Adriana over at Perpetual Pages. They recently reviewed this book, and I was so hyped for the review. I haven't seen a review like that from anybody before, and I really appreciate it. I'm also inspired by Heather over at Aphrodite Reads. Recently did a review of Foul is Fair, and I'll put a picture up on the screen because I forget who that's by, but she did a review of Foul is Fair while she was doing her makeup, and I thought that was cool. A lot of these review and do series episodes will be me doing my hair, but I also like to color. It's one of my favorite things to do to relax, and I could definitely use some relaxation during this time when reading just doesn't cut it. So sometimes you might see me I might be doing a voiceover while I'm coloring something, and or I might be cooking something, or I like to organize things, and I have some shit that I need to get taken care of while I'm laid off, and just making sure the house is in order. So that's why I'm not calling this series something like what Mina calls hers. I am calling this Review and Do because I'm going to be doing a lot of different things. It's just that in this one and in the majority of these videos, I will be doing my hair. Star Puppy, which she's not really a booktuber, but I love to watch her videos. She does hair care products. He reviewed this, and we have similar textured hair. I have fine hair. At some point, once I wet my hair, you'll see my scalp, and it's not that I'm balding, it's just that I have fine hair, and I don't see a lot of that represented on YouTube like she says. Another one of my OG inspirations is Evelyn from the internet. I'm a fake fan because I don't remember her official name, but Evelyn from the internet. I just love anything she puts out. The thing that I must mention in all of this is that I got a shout out today. And so Hannah over at Hannah Books and Other Things, that's her YouTube handle. I'll put her social media and Twitter stuff down in the description box, but she shouted me out today, and so it made me get off my ass and record this video. Also, UPS came, so I was able to get these products. Well, Deidra, how do you rate your books? Well, I use the 5-star rating just because it is the most traditional way I've seen to rate books, and I do give half-star ratings. I do half stars sometimes. I leave it up to my discretion whether or not I will round up a rating when I do that on Goodreads. It just depends on a feeling, on a vibe, and that's how I govern myself with a lot of things. You'll come to realize that about me soon enough. 1-star book is one that I found problematic. Not only did I not like the writing, I didn't like the story. I probably should have DNF'd it, and I really hated it and was mad because I finished it. So that would be a 1-star rating. A 2-star rating would be one that I could deal with the characters. I could deal with the writing. First and foremost, if I'm reading it enough to give it a rating, the writing was probably okay. But if it's a 2-star, then I could deal with the writing. There was something, at least one character in there that I could deal with. I probably was okay with the plot, and the atmosphere was okay. So that would be a 2-star. But I didn't enjoy my reading experience. I didn't enjoy the book. I would not recommend it. I'm probably upset that I wasted my time with a 2-star book. 3 stars. 3 stars would be a good rating for me. 3 stars is I enjoyed the writing, I enjoyed the plot and or the characters. It was just, it didn't have that special something. Like, I didn't particularly connect with the characters, but I liked them. The plot was good, the writing was decent, and I probably at least sort of kind of liked the cover art, whatever that may be, and I thought that it could have been executed better. But I enjoyed my time reading it if I gave it a 3 star. 4 stars. 4 stars would be I liked it. I liked it a lot. I liked it a lot if I gave it 4 stars. 4 stars was basically all of my 3 big things that I need. All 3 of those were in line. The plot, the characters, and the writing. All of those were good. All of those were good, almost excellent. It's just, it didn't have that little special something. It didn't have that special something, whatever that may be. It's up to my discretion to decide what that is, and it changes from book to book. It changes from day to day for me reading the book, if I'm just being completely honest. But yeah, 4 stars is I had a really good time reading it, and I liked everything about it. It just didn't have that special something to push it over to a 5 star. 5 star is I loved everything about it. I could hardly find a fault with it. It had that special something that just pushed me over the edge, whether it was the writing, whether it was the pacing, whether it was the atmosphere, whether it was all of the above, and something I can't even think about mentioning because I didn't know I needed it in my life. So that is a 5-star book, and that is exactly what this book was for me. But before we go too far into that, let's talk about the products I'm going to be using today. So today I am going to be demoing one of these brushes. I've been seeing them on Instagram. I'm not on Facebook anymore, but I've been seeing them on Instagram, and I was like, damn, do these things work? Spoiler, it is a good product. But I have used it before recording this video, and I haven't seen anybody, well, I mean, I haven't looked for it either, but I haven't seen anybody using this while doing a book review. So, hey, that's a point for Originality. I would use combs like this to detangle my hair, or a brush like this after I detangled it with this. So this is what I would normally use just for reference. And I probably will only use this brush to detangle my hair, especially for like wash day or co-wash day. From now on, after having used this, I have not noticed any extra shedding than would be normal for the amount of times that I wash my hair. I have not felt any extra pain. I am a bit tender-headed, even for myself. So you're going to see me grimace, but it's just because I'm tender-headed. It's not because this thing pulls my hair. It's just, it doesn't matter. I'm going to grimace because I'm tender-headed. They did not have a shampoo yet. As of right now, they do not have a shampoo. And as I am going to go and wet my hair and get ready to put it in sections and start talking about this book. I'll be right back. So all I've done is just wet it and just water, and that's it. That's all that is on my hair at this point. I am going to get some clips out of my little pouch, and this is supposed to be I'm going to use this to kind of part it off into sections, and we're going to get popping on discussing this story. The City We Became is a book written by N.K. Jemisin. It is her fourth series, her fourth world that she's built, and I will just say off the top, the other things that I have read by her are not that many. You know, especially when you're looking for somebody to fall in love with, or not even somebody to fall in love with, Lord Jesus, or you're thirsty, you're lustful is a better way to put this, for something different in your writing. And then when you find somebody like N.K. Jemisin, even for the first time, and you love to read and you read a lot, and you find somebody like her, her and her stories that she tells, then you just know, you click. That is what happened for me when my friend sent me the 5th season. I read that. I just gobbled it up. I had the audiobook to help me along. Robin Miles does an excellent job. She also narrates The City We Became. I was just like, just all in from the very beginning of both of these books. But I also read Emergency Skin by her, which is a short story. And I'm not even a short story type of person. Like, it's really not fair for me to be it's really not fair for me to be rating a short story. So when I do rate it, whether this is fair or good or not, when I do rate it, this is the last product I'm going to use when I'm finished. After shampooing and detangling and everything, this will be what I use to twist it up. So I'm going to put this out of the way. But right now you're going to see me putting this, after the oil, you're going to see me putting this on there to try to set, while I'm making the sections, to try to help with the detangling. That's one of the uses this thing's, the instruction says that I can do with this product. So we shall see about that. But yeah, once you find, I mean, your readers, you know, once you find something that you vibe with, you just know, and you just go with that shit. And that's what happened with the 5th season. I had started the Obelisk Gate. This video doesn't need to be about that. This is about The City We Became. What did I love about it? I loved the plot, and I loved the characters, because both of those were so different from anything that I had read before. I was here for it. It just swallowed me up. So first of all, we have the plot. But in this instance, N.K. Jemisin is an auto-buy author for me. She is an auto-buy author. Anything at this point that she puts out, I will be pre-ordering, and I will be pre-ordering 2 copies. The plot, even if it wasn't N.K. Jemisin, but especially because it is her, the plot of having New York City, not the state, but you know, let's not confuse it, but having New York come to life via some avatars who represent the different boroughs of what you think of as New York, was just something that I was like, I need to see that in action. And boy, did she deliver. She gave us 6 avatars, and then she gave us a villain like nobody we've really seen before, that I've really seen before. I can't say we, because I've been watching interviews and reading articles ever since I finished reading this book so that I wouldn't get spoiled. But ever since I've been reading, ever since I finished reading, I've been hearing her being Jemisin talk about what inspired her and what some of the inspiration, but what some of the references were in the book. And she was saying Lovecraft, which is obvious with the octopus and the tentacles that are on the cover and that we see in that first scene in that prologue. She hits us with some action and the villain, or what we don't know that it's the villain, but we get hit with that in the prologue. In the first 10 pages, we get hit with that. And it's like, yes. Oh, I should maybe tell you, this stuff has like a very, very light, very, very, very light. All of it has the same smell, but it kind of sort of smells like peppermint. Spearminty, like, it smells like real mint that you grow in your garden, not the artificial stuff. It smells like real mint. But yeah, so we get to see that evil entity right there in the beginning, and I was just immediately, I was like, okay, I can tell right then. Immediately I could tell that within the first 5 or 6 pages, I was like, okay, Deidra, you have to make a decision right now. You have to decide if you want to gobble this book up or if you want to try to savor it. I told myself that I would do what I want and I will take it however it is given to me. I end up making myself wait 3 days to finish this, just because I knew that I would be disappointed if I read it all in one sitting and I had to wait 2 to 3 to 40 years or maybe never to continue on with the series. So because she hit us with that action with the big tentacles and I think it's the first Ghostbusters where they spray the slime all over the inside of the Statue of Liberty and take it for a ride. So that was the amount of hair that came out of there. She took us for that ride right there in the beginning, in the prologue. And she introduced us to what we would later find out was the 6th avatar of the people who are supposed to save, the folks that are supposed to save New York City from the woman in white. And then the next person we're introduced to is takes the name Mannie once he gets through with his what would you call his experience getting off the subway? His awakening, I guess. I think she had a name for that experience for him in the book, but my hands are wet and I wouldn't dare put these hands on that masterpiece. His experience coming out of the subway and out into New York for the first time, I thought that was very unique. I don't know that I've ever had or ever read an experience before where, even in a fantasy, where a character, like, okay, let's think, what other things have I read where the character kind of woke up, one of the main characters woke up in a new place and with new abilities, I guess you would call it. The only one that comes to mind in the moment is the Maze Runner. You know, when he comes up out, like, there's 2 instances where he kind of gets knocked out or is unconscious. There's when he first arrives into the maze, and then it's later, once the gates stop closing, it's later when he has kind of like a premonition and finds out that he was part of the, what did they call that? I forget, but y'all know, if you've read The Maze Runner, you know what I'm talking about. He was part of that organization, So I can't, I'm saying all that to say, like, what else? I don't have anything else to compare it to. Basically, it's what I'm getting at. You got Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz when we have another similar introduction. And I'm a sucker for nothing else if not originality. Give me some originality and I am a fan of yours. Like, for real. Let me turn on the light in the background so you can see my dark hair. So yeah, I'm a sucker for originality. So we met Mannie right off the wham, and he had an original introduction and sort of experience into New York. I don't know about many of you, but I am a Southerner. I was born and raised in Tennessee, and I am currently living in Texas. So I have only visited New York once. So as a Southerner, I don't know that much about New York City. Just the things that we see on TV and the things that we see in movies, and there's plenty of books written about New York, and I just never come across anything like this. So we got our introduction in the prologue with the action right away, which I love. We got the first two characters, which are racially ambiguous men. I want to say both of them are racially ambiguous. I could be wrong about that because I've read a couple books in between at this point, but so we got first two characters, and then I think the next person that we meet is Brooklyn, which is a current city council person, but a former MC or female rapper, as unfortunately they're known as a lot. Anyway, so then I think the next person after we meet Brooklyn is Queens, which her name is Padmina, and Padmina is a Indian immigrant, first generation. Well, I think she immigrated when she was very, very young, which gives us more rep that I just love to see in books. Again, when is the last time you read a book that had a first generation Indian immigrant in it, alongside a racially ambiguous homosexual male, and then a homeless person? Pretty much, essentially a homeless person. When is the last time you had those three characters in the same book? That's just the tip of the iceberg for why I love this book. But when's the last time you had a book like that? That's just 3 of the 6 characters that we have to discuss. So then we get to Bronca, who is from the Bronx, and she is an indigenous person. And again, other than Trail of Lightning, which I haven't read yet, but I own, when's the last time you've seen two racially ambiguous, possibly bisexual, but more than likely homosexual men, and then an Indian immigrant, and then a black woman who is a female rapper and a city councilman, and then an indigenous American person? When has the last time you've had a book with that cast of characters? I'll wait. So then from the Bronx, we move on to find out that the avatar from Staten Island is a white woman, I believe. I need to go back and look and see if her race or ethnicity or anything like that was specifically mentioned. But I think she was just a white woman. And her name is... I didn't like her. So, I kind of put her name out of my mind, it appears. But let me go look up this lady's name. I'll be right back. I got one more section. Okay, I believe this lady's name is pronounced Iceland, like almost similar, and I think it was something even mentioned at some point in the book, that it is a variation of Island. So maybe her name is Island and it's just a different spelling. And I did listen to the audiobook and I can't even remember how it was pronounced, because like I said, I did not like Staten Island and I kind of put her out of my mind, so shame on me for that. But we're just going to call her Island at the moment, and forgive me if I am wrong about that. So then we have, to recap, we met in the prologue, we met the 6th avatar that we didn't know was the avatar, who we don't know his name. We don't know his name yet. We have the 6th avatar that we met at first in the very beginning in the prologue. Then we have Mannie. Then we have Queens, who is then we have Brooklyn, whose name is Brooklyn. Then we have Bronx, whose name is Bronca. Then we have Queens, who is an Indian immigrant named Padmina. And then we have Staten Island, who is named Island. And then we also have a couple of other characters who I loved and was happy to see. And I love when they're side characters that have motivations and lives and are developed. So those few characters are Vanessa, who is a worker in the museum with Bronca, who is the Bronx. Then we have Hong, who is the avatar for Hong Kong in China. Then we have Paulo, who is Sao Paulo, the avatar. And then we have the woman in white, who is the antagonist and just the enemy in pretty much all senses of the word. A very cunning enemy and a unique villain, if you will. Like, I mean, if you're familiar with Lovecraft, then ignore me because I have not read anything by the man. I know who he is. I know some of the problems with him. I know some of the lore around him and how it's kind of taken shape to its own thing now that he's dead. But I have never read him, full disclosure. This is about all I know about Lovecraft. Said if you know a lot about him, then ignore me when I say the white woman was a unique villain. But I just love how insidious she was. I just loved how she was like from Jurassic Park. She was like a velociraptor that just would try different parts of the cage and see where the different weaknesses were within the avatars to try to take the city out while she had the chance. And I love how she manipulated Island to sort of bend to her will in the end in the way she went about it. At this point, I have detangled everything and I'm going to go and wash it. Melanin Haircare did not have a shampoo at the time that I bought this, so I'm going to use what I always use anyway, and that is the Trader Joe Tea Tree Tingle shampoo. This stuff is good. I need a really good clean on my scalp because I haven't shampooed my hair in a while and I've just been co-washing, and so I feel like I've got some product buildup and I want to get it clean. And this is just to make sure that I don't wash away too much of the moisture from the tea tree oil, and I will be back in a minute. So far I've talked about what I love. I love the characters. I named the characters. My favorite character probably is Vanessa or Brooklyn. Obviously I've already mentioned that I did not like Island or Iceland, however you want to pronounce her name, and I've forgotten. Gotta hurry up and wrap up because my phone's running out of storage. But only thing left to talk about, and I'm putting on the leave-in conditioner, leave-in oil cream. But yeah, the only thing to talk about is the things that I didn't like besides Island. I I'm having a hard time figuring out what I didn't like. I liked, my hair feels pretty good right now, by the way. Feels really clean because of that tea tree oil. But yeah, only thing I didn't like is I would have liked more time. I would have liked more time at the end on the beach before Paolo left. I would have liked to seen that dynamic between Mannie and damn, I gotta stop it and figure out that dude's name. I'm gonna be so mad when somebody corrects me in the comments, but I don't think that we know New York's name, the 6th avatar. I don't think that we know, and I think that's on purpose. He's supposed to be like every New Yorker. But I would have liked more time to hear about how they got on, and how I would have liked more time with all of them together after the climax. I would have liked more than 2 pages or 3 pages. Whatever we got, I would have liked more. That did not take away from my enjoyment, the fact that it was sort of an abrupt ending. I liked how it ended. It was open enough and cliffhangery enough to where I can't even put that on my dislikes list. Yeah, I liked everything about the city we became. If you like fantasy and you like urban fantasy, and you maybe were looking, even if you don't like fantasy and you just like a good mystery with a little bit of magical realism, not even a little bit, well yeah, just a little bit of magical realism. It is very, the fantasy is light. If you don't like fantasy, I think you will like it. If you do like fantasy, I think you will like it. If you like N.K. Jemisin's work, you'll like it, just like you like the rest of it. I don't have anything bad to say about this except for I wish I had waited until the second one came out before I bought it so that I wouldn't have to wait. Just putting a little oil in my hands to seal over everything. I'm going to part this and put it in 2 sections and put 2 big twists or maybe 3 big twists just so that it'll dry and have a little wave to it. Okay, so I have finished twisting up my hair. I used the styling cream and I just brushed it through and put it in a couple plaits to dry, and it'll be all wavy and cute in the morning. I gave this 5 stars. I love the plot, I love the characters, I love the writing. I cannot wait for the next installment. Only thing I did not like is we did not get enough time at the end. I felt like even though this was the first in a trilogy, that the ending that they gave us in this very first installment could have been just a little bit, could have given me just a little bit more, could have wrapped up and gave me some introductions to some new dynamics and some relationships a little bit more than what we did. That's the only thing I didn't like about this. If you haven't read it, if you haven't picked it up, go ahead and grab it. The audiobook narrated by Robin Miles was excellent. Go and check out Adriana's review over at Perpetual Pages. Their review is awesome. I hope I was able to come a little bit close to that in my goals. Again, this is a new series I'm going to have on my channel called Review and Do, where this episode, the pilot episode, we did my hair. We demoed some new products, but next time we might be coloring or we might be sewing a t-shirt or something like that. But yeah, The City We Became was awesome. Go check it out. This is my first review. We'll see you in the next video. Bye y'all.